You've got a car with rust, this is one of the first things I do. You know, there was a small hole in the rocker anyways, so I'm getting all the dirt and dust and extra rust, whatever's in there through the years. So I actually have the hose into the rocker and I'm just wiggling it around, seeing everything that I can get out of it. I'll tell you a million different ways. Doesn't matter, do whatever you want. Whatever works for you. People will say, oh my God, the moisture in there, you're gonna rot the rocker out even more. No, it already had water in it anyways, it doesn't matter. What is going on, guys? Last time you saw me, we were at the track with the S10. It's a pretty cool day. We were trying to do that for quite a while, so it was nice that the truck finally made it. It did well. I was pretty happy. The quickest time it ran was about a 13.6. Someone that's never been to the track, I'm pretty happy with that. We did learn a lot about the truck. These rear brakes need to be adjusted. I do need a drive shaft loop. And obviously when we pulled up that intake, for some reason, the crankcase pressure blew everything right out of that knock sensor. I'm gonna pull up that valley tray and I'm basically just gonna TIG weld plugs. So that way, that's never gonna happen again. I could buy a valley pan cover, but I have all the material and I have a TIG welder that can do aluminum, so I might as well give it a try. But for this video, that is not what we're doing. As you guys know, I bought a $450 Fox body. Was it a smart idea? I don't know, probably not, but I really couldn't pass up a good deal. So I'm sitting back, I'm like, what do I do? Do I scrap it? Do I get rid of it? What's going on with it? Very close to scrapping it, because I was gonna see if I can part it out, make some money on it. No, I did sell the seats, got a couple $100 for those, so that offsets. Now it's a $250 Fox body. But we're trying to figure out what's going on and what the deal is. I'm ready to get rid of the thing. And then my dad was like, you know what? I got an idea. I'm like, all right, well, what does that mean? That can't be good. We sat down, we talked a little bit, and here's what we came up with. My dad wants to take this car and he wants to build the absolute cheapest drag car that you can get. As you guys know, this is about as trashy as any car can get. This car it's pretty junk. I mean, I've seen worse, but this is pretty bad. It's a stripped down car. It does have some rust and it's gonna need a lot of hours. Not exactly money, it's more time than money. It does need some patches in the rockers, front and rear, little floor pan patch, and then in the back, it does need another patch as well. But that's simple stuff. You're gonna get that. We're in New England. That's all we have. So now it's a $250 car, some patchwork, really not that big of a deal. Obviously, the other day, my dad was with me at the track and we had a blast. It was so much fun, but he kind of wants something that he could run himself. He's never really had anything that he could bring to the track. So he's like, what about this? We take that car, get a motor for it, get a transmission for it, and build the absolute cheapest Fox body race car that you can get. It's probably not gonna be fast and it's not gonna be anything nice. We're gonna do all Facebook Marketplace stuff, used transmission, used everything, whatever we can get, cheapest, and log everything down as we go, just to see what it would cost to get this thing to go. Here's what we're working with back here. Everything's relatively clean for the most part. I am gonna need a little bit of attention right here on the floor. This frame rail, it has a little bit of scaliness to it. This rust is actually in between there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the floor out around it, figure out all that. I'll sandblast everything I can, and then save it, patch it up, no big deal. It's nothing structural. There's a couple little pinholes right here, but you know, that's really not that bad. The main thing, you know, the extensions and stuff, those are pretty good. This one has a tiny bit of rust, like out here. So that'll need to be patched. This is just a budget race car, so I could fix that, I could leave it. It doesn't really matter. No one's gonna see it behind the bumper anyways. As long as it's treated, that's all that matters, because I don't want any more rust. The dash, I loosely kind of put in there. So we'll have to get more involved in that. As far as patching on the floor though, it does need a little bit. Came with a trans cross member. This area, there's nothing over here. This is literally 90 degree. So that's gonna take nothing to whip up some patches for that. This is just as simple, cutting that out. You know, oh, that's not even rotted. That's just a body hole, so that's good. That's no problem. A little weight reduction right there. This is all the wiring that goes under the hood. I'm gonna try and retain everything I can, so it's still, we can use the factory lights and all that stuff. There's a little patch that'll need to be done here. It's weird how it rotted. Like the frame rail itself is still, it's fine. It's got factory paint on it still inside, but right there it's got a little rust. Over here is pretty good. The rockers are good on this side. That rocker is gonna need to be patched right there. They both, let's see, they both need slight patches right here, but there's really nothing over there. I don't know if you can see that. Basically, the rocker's right here, and I think from all the dirt and debris and stuff like that hitting, it kind of just chips this away, makes it thin. But the outside of it, everything's all structural. It's a little wet because I did hose everything out to try and get all the dirt and stuff out of it. Oh boy. There we go, that was already open. On this side, like I said, we are gonna need a rocker patch. I can whip that up, that's no big deal. Everything else, structural wise, is pretty good. That rotted in a weird spot. Underneath and take a look. Here's what we're looking at. Yeah, there's a little scaliness here, but it's not exactly completely rotted. It rotted in some weird spots, but I feel like for what it is, there's a lot of cars that are in worse shape than this. It does have a 7.5, so that's gonna stay there. That keeps the whole budget aspect of it, so that'll be there until we kill it. If we kill it. It's got some nice factory traction bars. Those are weird. But this car is really not that bad. Now, I don't really know a ton about Fox bodies, so if there's something that we should be doing that most people do, if you guys want to leave me a comment with some advice, like how much power can those factory mounts hold? I'm not sure. Some people change them, some people don't. I really don't know. Is there going to be a ton of wheel hop because of the bushings in here, which are probably junk anyways? Do most people put solid bushings? Do they replace the control arms? I don't really know. Is it worth it to even leave this in here? Should we include in the budget enough money to get an 8.8 or a 7.5? I'm not really sure what people do. People would probably scrap the car, and I can honestly say that maybe I do agree with that. But I guess we're going to try and revive it on a budget. The absolute tightest budget that we can get. This is like coffee money. That's what this car is. Some pennies here and there, some used parts from Facebook Marketplace. We can scroll. I'm like a Marketplace hawk, so that's going to be kind of fun for me. The big thing with this motor, essentially for this build, I'm going to consider it free because I bought that truck for $500. When I scrapped it, I got the same thing. All I took was the motor. It's basically free. I mean, mind you, it was a dump truck. It was really heavy. There was a lot of steel in it. So that's why I made my money back on it. But even with this motor now, this car standing me $550, we have a motor, we have a car, $550. That's where we are right now. So this is what we're going to use. It is essentially a free motor. It's a 2006 6.0. We got 317 heads on it. It is filthy. It's disgusting. It's gross. But we have all the coils. The plugs are in there. We'll obviously change those. It's got all the front accessories. It has an AC compressor on it. We'll take that right off. This whole thing needs to be disassembled as far as you know, taking the coils off, the valve covers, the front accessories. And this thing's got to be cleaned up beyond belief. I am also going to have to find some fuel rails too, because I don't think that I can make it work. The way I did this one, I used the Corvette fuel filter regulator, and I only have one line going to the motor, and then the return is actually at the filter, and it goes back to the tank right there. So with this dual setup like this, with the feed and the return, it's probably better to just source the fuel rail that I'm using on this truck. Where is this supposed to go? This is the motor that comes in those, right? Maybe on the intake, something like that. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Yeah, 5.0. It's basically like the same thing, so perfect. So this brings me to the toughest part of the build, and it could make or break the cost on it. What do I do about the factory K-member? Can I fit a 6.0 in it? I was looking to see if they make motor mounts to keep that factory front suspension like that. I really haven't had any luck. The only thing I've seen is people use an SN95, like a 95 Mustang. I guess they make an adapter mount to go from the Ford motor to the LS, but they're saying that it doesn't work with the factory K-member that's on these Fox bodies, so I really don't know. If you guys could point me in the right direction, that'd be cool. If not, the only thing I was thinking of, I could get the motor centered up where it should be, driveline angle and all that nice, and I could just do custom mounts. That might be the cheaper way. I mean, we'll see what happens. A lot of this build is a gray area because we don't know anything about these cars. And mind you, this is going to be a little side project here. This is something that my dad wants to take on. I'm going to help out with. But my main focus here is on the S10. And I know it's going to be as budget as it gets, but I'd like some input. What do you guys want to see? Do you want to see a factory 7.5 and seeing what the 6.0 will do to it? Do you want to see a stock 6.0 in this Mustang? Do you want me to put a cam in it? Because that's about as far as I would go, is probably a cam, but I'm keeping the cost down here. So that might be something that's just not feasible in the budget. At this price point, I really think this could possibly end up being the cheapest Fox body race car build on YouTube. Maybe someone did it cheaper. I'm not sure. If they did, show me the video. Maybe it'll help cut costs by looking at what someone else did, and they already figured that out. But for my build and for what works for us, I have a free 6-liter, so this car is getting an LS. Alright guys, as usual, I will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you for all the support. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, now's the time. Hit that subscribe button. I'm one guy, but I'm trying to do everything I can. I'm trying to do the best. Juggling all these projects at once. It's not really easy, but that's just who I am. I've never taken the easy route. So hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys on the next one.